and that was for every single character that you see. They had all that information, and a little bit of about their personality as well. Just like several couple sentences about their personality. So every single person that you encounter in the game, they had books, pages and pages of all these different characters, and they showed me all of the research they did, all of the books, the locations, and all that kind of stuff. So they were really giving me quite a bit of a window into their thought process and their development into the game. And so yeah, the first time I ever had a chance to play Shenmue was they gave me a Dreamcast and they gave me this that was Shenmue in Japanese with English subtitles, and I got to play that.
Wow.
Playing the game, experiencing it, and voicing it at the same time. So I was basically playing it. And then, a couple days later, I might do that thing, you know what I mean? So, I was, I got a chance to produce the game as I was voicing it.
So, when you went to Sega headquarters, so you walked in, when it was the first time you met Ryo Hazuki? Like, when did that actually happen?
How was your back?
Yeah, you know what? That actually happened a few days after we kind of started diving into it. Like I said, they gave me a chance to warm up. We did, several hours of recording, maybe 4 hours a day for the first couple of days, just kind of diving into it, getting our feet wet, I guess I should say. A few days afterwards, if I remember correctly, I don't. It's been a while now, right?
It's been over 20 years now.
My memory is probably a little bit, but yeah, I remember that we're like, so we found out that Ryo Hazuki is here today. Would you like to meet him? And of course, my mind's like, and I just, very humbly and said, yes, please. Yeah, we will.
You're like,
I'll come by again.
I keep the cap of my head on so they see my brain exploding.
You're like, don't cry.
But yeah, he was of course seeing everything that I was doing, but we had an English familiar team, I guess I should say. Everybody on the team that I was working with, they were all they were familiar with English, and we did have an English translator there from the States that was working with us in the studio the whole time. But Ryo Hazuki, basically what they would do is they would take all of that recording that they did and they kind of clean it up a little bit. Ryo Hazuki would have the final say on everything, but we kind of work a little bit separately. So I did get a chance to meet him that day, but the thing is that once we started recording, we really kind of like put our heads down and started recording, and we were recording hard basically all day, every day. Once a couple weeks went by, and I didn't get a chance to meet him after that, believe it or not, until much later. So as far as Shenmue 1 is concerned, I think I seriously got to meet him once because we're just so busy on the project, all doing things that I got to meet him that one day, and we were just hard at work recording. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. It's so, oh my god. So you like, how does it feel? I told myself I was going to try to stay calm during this interview, so I think I'm doing a good job of containing my excitement. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. How did it feel to know? Did you know when you were making the game? Did you have like a feeling, like 10 minutes in, or like 2 weeks in, or a year in, that this was going to be something astronomical? Did you have like an inkling that this was going to change video games?
Well, no. The thing is, when I did the game myself, of course, when I was playing it, I was like, oh man, these are the things that I've always wanted. Shenmue didn't really like invent a big wide open map or they didn't invent the ability to go through droid. We talked about things like,
Yuki.
like
Yo.
we talked about Resident Evil, a little bit earlier, or maybe Grand Theft Auto or something like that, right? But we never really had everything come together like Shenmue. Right? Shenmue was unique in that sense. And when I played it, I was like, God, these are the things that I've always really wanted in a game. Now, you can go up to anybody and have a conversation with them most of the time, right? About it doesn't have to be about like what's going on specifically. You can ask about like, oh hey, there are certain things that you need, like, oh, I need somebody to translate this language, or hey, did you see something else that day? Like you have 3 or 4 different options, and you can actually have conversations with people. It's different at different times of day, and it's different at different times of year, or you know what I mean? Or like you said, if the weather or something like that, or you know what I mean? I always thought like, wow, this is different. Like this is what I've always wanted in a game. So I remember playing Shenmue and thinking that, like, man, this is,
Is everything okay?
these are the things I've always wanted, and I thought, why hasn't it come out by now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was playing Shenmue, that was definitely my thought. Like, this is what I've always wanted. I wanted to be able to go through my drawer, and if there's nothing but clothes in there, then who cares? Or you can go to the arcade and throw a couple $100
on darts. I play darts.
Try asking them. Good idea.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite lines that you have in that game is, "This is the last dart." When you say that, I love, I almost dropped the F word. I love that. "This is the last dart." The way you say that, oh my God, I love it. This was kind of crazy. So, when I played the original Shenmue, I had a Japanese copy, which I'm staring at right now. And I remember in the Japanese copy, we had Coke machines. And I was always wondering why they got rid of the Coke machines in the American version.
Yeah. It's always having to do with license, and there's always like all kinds of crazy lawyer stuff going on behind the scenes, you know what I mean? So it's like they have the ability to have the Coke logo in Japan, right, for distribution in Japan, right? So they don't have those rights. They didn't pay those rights to have it in the United States for sure. So yeah, there's always little things like that you'll see that it's always just having to do with contracts and money and lawyers. So that's all.
Have you ever played the game Fighting Vipers before?
I have not actually played it, but yeah, I do know that.
So Ryo Hazuki, obviously, he worked on Fighting Vipers as well, and it was like kind of like his heavy metal version of Virtua Fighter. It's not as elegant. There's got like skateboards, and they're beating you up with like pipes. And I always remember getting the Japanese version of that game and seeing Pepsi Man in it. And I was so upset because I had bought the American version first and found out exactly what you just said, that Pepsi Man was a Japanese icon. So when you play the Japanese version of Fighting Vipers on Sega Saturn, if you lose like twice, you literally hear the theme song of Pepsi Man, and then he fights you, and then he becomes playable. And it was amazing that Fighting Vipers in Japan has Pepsi. There's a character named Picky who actually has a Pepsi skateboard. There's Pepsi trucks going by, and we didn't get that here. And it kind of makes sense, I guess, with different licensing agreements.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, the thing is, I had a chance to play it a couple of times. So did I get a chance to really play it? No. I think a friend of mine had the game, and I don't think I ever played with Pepsi Man. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't, because it was here in the States, so I guess I never would have. But that's interesting that you say that, because that's something that I wasn't able to know. But yeah, I'm sure that is the exact same thing. They end up having the ability to do that in another country, Japan specifically in this case, and then not in another. And it's all just about licensing.
Yeah, I'm sure that, when you were doing voice acting, you were focusing on your career. Me, at my age, I was just playing video games. So, Like it's kind of crazy. Like the little intricacies of a Japanese game versus an American game. And you when you were in Japan, did you ever have Java tea before? It's a very popular
Oh
drink.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, fun fact for you: there's a game called Virtua Fighter Kids, and Virtua Fighter Kids. I don't know if you ever played it. Your daughter would love it. It's basically
Okay.
think of Funko Pops, but fighting. It's Virtua Fighter
Nice.
characters with these really big heads, and
Uh-huh.
why they did that? It's hilarious, and they literally did it because they wanted to see if they can recreate actual pain on a character when they get hit. And they said that that was kind of one of the games that laid the groundwork for Virtua Fighter 3 and then essentially laid the groundwork for games like Shenmue. So basically you're fighting in an arena. Let me let this guy pass. Sorry, sir. So I bring this up because in the Japanese version of it, there's a character called Shundi. He's in an American version also. He's a drunken master. And in Virtua Fighter 2, he has a gourd that he drinks out of, so he's an alcoholic.
Right.
But in Virtua Fighter Kids, in the Japanese version, he's got a Java tea can that he drinks out of. And I found that awesome, and I was always curious if that was a thing in Japan, if that was just a popular drink. I'm like, these guys are advertising Java tea pretty hard in this game. There's like signs for it. So yeah, it's just, I love, Corey, that's what makes me feel so immersed. And so we're going to do this part because I was obsessed with these growing up. I talked about these with you before, where I used to trade with the kids in Japan over Passport. And this to me was the first time,
100 yen each.
this to me was the first time where I got to see
Maybe just
a Model 2 game, even if I wasn't playable, like Model 2 graphics in a video game system. Because growing up playing Virtua Fighter on Sega Saturn, as amazing as the Saturn was, it just wasn't, it was never meant to do what everybody was hoping it could do. So it didn't look like this. It had a base understanding of it, but it didn't look like this. You didn't see
Right.
the tight details of Wolf. So, by the way, that's what Virtua Fighter Kids looks like. These big-headed, it's so funny. Like, I've spent
maybe I should get another.
way too much time just buying these over and over again. Let's hope maybe I'll get Doral. That'd be nice. Let's see if we get Doral. Come on. I got Wolf Hawkfield the first time, and I just got Jackie Bryant the second time, which I love. Look at that. Look at that hair. So, yeah, their hands are so big. So, what was your favorite part
Maybe I
of
should get another.
working on Shenmue?
Nah, not today.
The thing is that when I started playing Shenmue, I guess kind of answer your question a little bit further. The question is that when I started playing Shenmue, I became a big fan myself, right? So to be a part of a game that I actually like the playing is pretty awesome. It's great to be the main character in something that I actually enjoy playing, and that I would buy anyway if I weren't a part of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that in itself is just great. Being a how old was I? 20. How old was I? Being a 20-year-old in Japan, also living and working, doing what I love is probably the greatest gift that anybody could ever ask for. I was making money doing video games. I think anybody who can do that in any form, even if it's doing podcasts like this, or if it's developing games, if you're a coder or something like that, or if you're a very creative guy and you want to do voiceovers or something like that, I think anybody who
One
can
game, 100 yen.
anybody who can make money
try it.
doing what they love never really has to go to work, right?
No, that's true. It's you literally are living. You got to live the dream. You are living the dream, like and it's not like you were handed this. Like you did such a breathtaking job on Ryo Hazuki that it's like I mentioned it to you before we went live that how whenever I play the game, I feel your pain in the character. Like,
Yeah.
voice acting now is so different than when it had to be. Remember I told you on Facebook when Shenmue 3 came out, when I saw that trailer and I literally messaged you screaming when you squared up against Lon D and he goes, "I'll avenge my father." The way you said that, I was just like, oh my, like, you feel his pain. You're able to capture the loss that this kid experienced. And earlier in the conversation, you said something that was very poignant, where he's regaining his humanity with everything from a kitten to a martial art to a Tai Chi master who he helps, who's being threatened with eviction. And it kind of like made me think of maybe Ryo Hazuki is a student of the world now. Maybe everything that happened to him happened for him to face Londi. Maybe Londi is his destiny. Maybe his father was meant to die to battle that evil.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you look at some of the old martial arts stories, you see characters go through these trials. It's not just about them going wild and trying to get through the story on to the next thing. Really, the martial arts journey should be about improving yourself in all ways, with all things in life. So, for example, even if you're, let's just say, okay, this is a good one, because me and my daughter were watching the Karate Kid, right? So, when you have to stand the floor, right?
Yeah.
Even my daughter, I was talking to my daughter, like, do you know what him do? And she kind of looked at it, she goes, she's trying to make him strong. And I said, yeah, exactly. She got it before the reveal, because remember at the very end, Daniel sometimes like, I'm not doing this anymore. He said, show me paint the fence, show me stand the floor. And then they actually do the martial arts move. So my daughter got that before that reveal. She realized that he was making him stand the floor and be these motions to make him stronger. Because she realized, oh yeah, he was talking about how his shoulders were so sore, his arms were so sore. And she realized that the things that he was making him do in life were his martial arts training. I was like, oh man, I'm so glad my daughter, you know, she's only 10, but she understands that. So in martial arts, everything that you do in life should be your training aid, you know? Like when you go to work, maybe you take your bike to work. Maybe you take the stairs opposed to taking the elevator, something like that. Because you should be always trained. If you're a serious martial artist, you should always be trained. So instead of, you know, he made him use the old style Japanese sandals so he could work on us, right? So not only we talk about physical training, but we're talking about mental training as well. When you are in business, you should be thinking about Sun Tzu, right? You should be thinking about using the art of war and martial arts training to get you through your day as far as a businessman and stuff, right? You should be thinking of yourself as Musashi, right?
Yep.
That you are when you engage in conversation with somebody who has an opposing view, you know, you don't yell at each other because that accomplishes nothing. You have to use tactics to help each other understand, and that is also a part of martial arts, right? You have to think about all aspects in your life, whether it's physical or mental, should be a part of martial arts training. And even the games that you play should be, you know, games that improve your life in some way. Of course, we also love great stories, games like Shenmue teaches life lessons and things like that. So maybe strategy games as well to sharpen your mind.
Next time.
You know,
Anyway,
everything
on
that you
that
do in
day,
life, if you're a
did
serious
anything
martial artist,
unusual
should
happen?
be improving your life in that direction. So
I see.
that's
Well, if you
that's
remember anything,
kind of like
let
how
me
I
know.
feel that Hazuki is on his martial arts journey. Because not only is he getting
Tom,
stronger physically with all these characters that he's meeting, but he's getting strong mentally with all of the support
uh-huh.
and
I'll
all
drop
of
by later.
the love he's getting from all the people that he's meeting along the way. He's also learning life lessons from people like the Kung Fu masters who teach him how to focus, who teach him how to concentrate, who teach him how to who teach him a greater balance,
Hi.
who
Hello,
are
what
teaching
can I
him
do for you?
patience.
On
You
the
know,
day
even
the weather changed
Shenhua,
from
when
snow
we're
to
talking
rain,
later on in the
did you
stories
see a black
2
car?
and
A
43,
black car?
she
I
teaches
hear it
him a lot
drove at
about
full
patience
speed through
and how he
Dobuita.
can improve
Well,
himself
we closed early
through
that day.
all of the,
I
the,
see.
the teachings
Wait a
that
minute.
he had learned from her father.
Now I
and things
remember.
like that.
A car
It's
did
not
drive
only his
through
physical
real
journey, but
fast.
his mental journey.
Really?
Don't remember the
So,
color, but it drove off towards the
you and your
seafood
daughter, do you guys
I see.
does your daughter practice martial arts?
She did practice martial arts. The studio that we went to, I decided that I wasn't after that. She wants to start up martial arts again. She expressed interest in jujitsu. There's actually a pretty interesting great jujitsu studio that's not too far from us. But she is she studies ballet, and ballet is very, and I can translate a lot of those same lessons to ballet as well. Ballet, because I study ballet myself, and let me tell you something. For anybody who doesn't know, I have
Did
studied
you see a black car?
martial arts
A
since I was
black
a child.
car?
I've played American
I hear it
football.
came from
I've done stunts,
Sakuragaoka and drove through
and
Dobuita at full speed.
I've done a lot of
I had no idea.
I
cool
see.
things in my life. The
Leo,
hardest thing I've
why
ever
don't
had to
you
do
try
in
asking
my
people
entire
on the
life,
shopping
and I'm not
street?
joking,
Maybe
is
someone
that
saw it
I
down
studied
there.
ballet and
Yeah.
modern dance when I was in college, and it's the hardest thing I've ever done. So, for anybody who thinks that ballet may not be, I don't know, manly or physically demanding, or you don't know. I'm going to say right now, you don't know.
It's fun.
So, again, the same thing that we talk about, that I just talked about in life, can be translated to ballet as well. So she's decided to take that real serious, and she's gone to a conservatory here where I live, just above Los Angeles. So the Santa Clarita Ballet Academy is where she's taking ballet, and they take ballet very seriously. They're grooming kids to go into things like the Royal Ballet
I'll get this next
in
time.
Great Britain, or the San Francisco Ballet, and we have several of their alumni are in major companies now. But yeah, she's decided to take it real serious. And
That's amazing.
Yo, may I help you?
That's amazing. Yeah, it's funny you brought up jiu-jitsu. So a little bit about me. I did Brazilian jiu-jitsu for about 10 years before I got injured. I actually achieved my Faisha Hosha and then got really injured. I should have never fought to begin with. I have metal rods in my back, but I got hurt during the New York Open, and it caused stenosis, arthritis, and nerve damage in my back, which never healed because I refused to let it heal. But I just remember my instructor explaining exactly how you just kind of talked about that it's a way of life. That
Yeah.
he would just tell me everything I did in the studio and everything I did outside of life is jiu-jitsu. It's just how you interpret it. And it was probably one of the greatest honors of my life to be given. And I always keep it. It's one of the few things on the stream that never changes. If you look at my camera, you'll actually see my Faisha Hosha right there. That is my purple belt that was given to me by my instructor, and his instructor gave it to him, which was Carlos Holston, who trained under the Gracies in the 80s in Brazil. So this has always stuck with me, and that's why, like, when I play Shenmue, and I knew you had to be a martial artist. Without even knowing you personally, I knew you had to be a martial artist, because when you hear yourself talking about martial arts in the game as Ryo Hazuki, you feel like you're not acting. You know what it is. You know what it's like, and I think that's what really drew me to the character. Is it sounded that Ryo Hazuki just happened to be you, and they asked you to be yourself in a game. It's just like whenever you hear Samuel Jackson, it's not Samuel Jackson playing a Jedi. It's just Samuel Jackson who has a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that feeling.
Literally there. The most dangerous thing in the universe.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time in this tomato mart, Mr. Marshall, Corey. I spent a lot of time in here because I really want this damn boombox. I never get it. I'm like using my family's inheritance right now to buy potato chips. I find that when it's the stoner in here and not her, I win. When it's the dude.
Oh, really?
I always win when it's the dude here. See? Well, I got 5th place, so I think... What do I get here? I think I get... I get a random capsule. See, I would have loved to get Metal Sonic. Let me ask you, did you, I'm gonna ask this, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Is Ryo Hazuki's hair based off of Sonic? Is that like a thing? Did they do that on purpose? Or is it just they're showing...
Come again, yo.
If it's based off of Sonic, I don't think so.
Because it seems so Sonic-y.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have, compared him to other characters. Of course, we all know Virtual Fighter and stuff like that, and the other Sega characters you just mentioned, Sonic. But yeah, I don't think that it's exactly based off of him, but I think it's just kind of like it might be just that Sega look, you know what I mean, that they got going on. You can kind of tell there's a little bit of the Sega signature kind of put on there. You know what I mean?
It's just...
Especially since merchandise.
I've always thought that, and it's kind of crazy that... So this kind of like, I'm not going to say upset me, but it made me a little sad. So obviously, I wouldn't have kickstarted the game. So when Shenmue 3 came out, when they announced it in 2015, my Facebook blew up. People are like, oh my god, your game is coming back out, and... For anybody that doesn't know, and I'm not going to spoil it, because hopefully Corey will be back again with us. Mr. Marshall will spend time with us again. I'm gonna Frankenstein up an original Xbox, and we're gonna play Shenmue 2 on the original Xbox. We're not gonna do the remakes because you lost the Timex, you lost a lot of stuff in translation.
Right,
so
right.
hopefully I can find a way to play the original on Xbox, and then if he decides to come back, we'll go through Shenmue 2 so we can discuss even more, because he reprised his role in Shenmue 2. So, in Shenmue 2, it has one of the worst cliffhangers in history. In the span of any video game that has came out, Shenmue 2 is basically the 20-year stopgap, almost, of you never knowing what's going to happen. And then... It was kind of like the dawn of the ending of like a lot of video game magazines. So like they were talking that Yu Suzuki was moving to other projects, and it was when Sega started not doing well financially, and the Dreamcast was on its last leg, and the Americans were upset because we never got Shenmue 2 here, and they broke up AM2, and then we knew the end was nigh for the Shenmue series when they started talking about the fact that we weren't going to see it in America, because America is where they make their money for these consoles. So I remember finishing Shenmue 2, and I was broken a bit. And I'm sure you felt it too. Like you're like, oh my god, like we're at 66% or 40% into a project. Oh, Steady as Shark, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I hope you're loving the stream, and I hope you're loving meeting Mr. Corey Marshall, the voice of our generation, the voice of Ryo Hazuki. So I remember finishing that game, Corey, and I was like, okay, when is the third one coming out? And I just, okay, 5 years later, when's the third one coming out? Sega no longer is, working on stuff and then 2015 rolls around, and I get a notification, And the notification, I gotta find it for you. My buddy Gareth, who knows how much Shenmue means to me, says Shenmue is getting kickstarted. And before I can ask the question, because you know what the question was, are you reprising the role? So before I can ask that question, he responded, and Corey Marshall will be reprising the role. I went and took a card that I shouldn't have used and kickstarted it for $350 that second. And I just remember going to the Kickstarter page and going through the bios and seeing your name and your picture, and they're like, and Corey Marshall is reprising the role as Ryo Hazuki. And they say as a man you get a couple cries in your life, you know when your kids are born, when you get married, I teared up and I was like, this is happening. And then literally right before TwitchCon last year was when Unet surprised us with the first playable demo of the game of Shenmue 3. And this is the first time I've got to hear your voice again in almost 20 years. And I was crying on this stream playing as Ryo Hazuki, because that is what you mean to thousands of people. And the fact that we didn't have pretty much anybody reprise their roles, but we had the star reprise his role, meant that you cared more about this game than pretty much anybody that had parts of it besides Yu Suzuki, obviously. Because if you look, Tom never reprised his role. The Guijon, the character that played Guijon, and I know this because I spent another $80 to buy the phone card where you call up and talk to all your friends, and all of their voices are different. So, even with that, the fact that you're there, the game I could not have played it without you there. So, my question to you is, and I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, because when they came to you and they said we're kickstarting it, what was your first thought? Like, how did this happen? Like, how did they say to you, okay, Corey, we're making this happen? Like, what happened? Tell us the story. I gotta hear it.
So, the Shenmue project was a very big secret, and I found out seriously the same time that everybody else did during that E3 announcement, when the music came out and all that kind of stuff, and everybody freaked out. The story for me goes is during that E3. I was home with my daughter. I don't remember. It may have been I was bringing her back from school or something like that, and I was like bringing stuff up to where we live, and I had a bunch of things in my hand, my daughter's school bag or whatever, and like we're still in the car, and my phone starts ping, right, like ping, 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 ping. I'm like, oh, okay, something's going on. But I still got all this stuff, and my phone's like vibrating, and it's starting to get warm, and there's like a hole burning in my pocket, and I'm like, oh man, what's going on? And walking up the stairs, and it's just going nuts, right? Like I'm like, all right, like another national emergency has happened, like there's another 9/11 or something, or it's got to be Shenmue. It's got to be Shenmue really. And I thought, I know E3 is going on right now. I wonder if it's Shenmue. You know what I mean? And I think my wife hears me coming home, because we're walking up the stairs or whatever, we're shuffling things, and she actually, as I'm unlocking the door, she actually opens the door, and the key is still in the door or whatever, and she has her iPad in her hand, and she's kind of looking at me, and she goes, "Did you hear?" And I'm like, is it Shenmue? And she goes, yeah, it's Shenmue. So yeah, of course we turned on the stream for E3, and we watched the announcement, and we see everybody go nuts, and I was like, yes, I get to play the game again. figure out what I got Shenmue 2. I can't believe I played. I thought, oh, they're gonna call me, right? Like I get to work on the game, right? Like right?
They're gonna call me, right? I mean, I'm gonna get a call.
I don't know if you remember, but they had a little demo where there was Shenhua and there was Ryo, and they do a little thing where they hop across the stream or whatever.
Yep, on the rocks.
Yeah, on the rocks, right? That voice artist is not me.
It's not you.
It's not me. They found somebody who sounded similar to me, and they recorded him, of course, in secret, so they could do this announcement. And when I heard that, I was like, oh shit! Like, they found somebody probably in Japan that sounds like me, and I kind of had a moment. You know, I was like, oh man, like I love this game. I really want to be a part of it. You know. So I kind of had my doubts for a little while, and there was a large response, as you kind of alluded to. There was a lot of people that were talking about it, and you know, I guess first of all I have to say, like, it's hard for me to think about that, because I know me as me. I'm just a guy, you know what I mean? I'm just some voice actor who happened to play this character in a game, you know. But for people to have that kind of response is really humbling, and I can't express how much I appreciate how much it means to people. But because there was such a large response, they ended up calling me for soon. It only took 2 days. I think it was only 2 days later. They called me up and said, "Hey, Ms. Marshall, you probably heard that we're doing part 3 of the game," and I was like, "Yeah,
I kind of heard."
And they said, "We would love to have you back. What do you think?" And of course, I told them, "I will know. I'll get back to you. Have my people call your people."
Yes.
And
No.
Immediately, we didn't talk about money or contracts or anything. I just said immediately, yes, of course I'll do it. I would love.
That's amazing.
I think so. It kind of went down like that. So I think they just wanted this. I think they wanted this big reveal, this big secret, and that's kind of how it went down. So literally, I found out the same time that everybody else, and so it was fun for me too, because like I said, I was like, yes, we get to play again. Can't wait for it to come out. And then I had that moment of, oh man,
Am I gonna play it?
I hope I do it.
Oh man.
Oh, may I help you?
Like, I decided to play it, and then I decided to find out that I was coming back.
So how did it go down? So you obviously,
Please.
did you end up flying to Japan? Like, I gotta hear this, because a lot of people want to hear how again, this is almost. I mean, again, I've always said that I'm 40, but you were the voice of my childhood. Like, I was 18, 19 when I first played Shenmue, and it's you and Paul Haddad. And remember, I had messaged you when we lost Paul Haddad, the voice of Leon S. Kennedy, who only was doing the voice of Leon a year before you started as Ryo Hazuki. Probably around the same. Probably you guys were in the studios at the same time when Resident Evil 2 was coming out, because Shenmue came out in 99, 2000. So it's always been you and Paul Haddad who have been the voice of my childhood, the defining characters in the video games, the not the anti-heroes, the heroes of the story, the ones that have to take all their tragedy and all the trials and tribulations and use it for purpose. So that's why I messaged you that very nice sentiment, because I could not imagine, we had lost Paul, and you're such an important part of thousands of people's lives, like not only in the US, but in the following in Europe for Shenmue 2 was enormous. Like, I remember having to buy my copy, and I'm staring at it right now, my European copy of Shenmue, because it was the only way to get at least American subtitles at the time. And even people that I was talking to, all the Shenmue people, were like, it just doesn't feel the same without you voicing it. Like, hearing a Japanese voice for Ryo Hazuki, it felt hollow. And when we finally got it on Xbox, it kind of, we kind of felt disconnected because it came out, like, 2 years after the fact. So when I heard the news about Shenmue 3, to be honest with you, I had $397 left on a credit card, and I gave it all to Unet. I was just like, take it all, and just make sure that I am part of this game. And the ironic part is, it was literally 5 years ago when I wasn't making a decent living as a streamer. I don't make a whole lot, but I work a good job. I'm blessed with a work from home situation because of my back. So now I could have probably invested $2,000, and what really depressed me was seeing what people in Shenmue 3, what the $2,000 tiers bought you. Your freaking picture was on a lucky hit. Like, it was, your name was inscribed in a shrine in honor of Shenmue, and again, guys, I've been waiting 20 years to have this interview, so you're going to see me very excited. I am going to let Mr. Corey Marshall talk. So my question to you is, when everything started, when the ball started rolling, what happened with you and the wife? Did you fly to Japan? Was it like a band gets back together type situation? Was Yu Suzuki more hands on deck? Like, what happened? Tell us the events that transpired with Shenmue 3, please.
It's interesting because you were talking about the other voice actors who didn't get a chance to come back, and this is actually a reason why, because Los Angeles. So we recorded in the studio down in Burbank, here in Los Angeles, and the reason you don't get a chance to hear these other voiceover actors, including great actors like Eric Kelso, or Paul, or some of the other characters that we know and love, Paul Lucas, and some of the other characters that we know, is because they are in Japan. So unfortunately, we could not record them here in Los Angeles because basically it's all done here in studio, and that's the reason why. So how it happened was that it was pretty typical this time round, where there was a little bit of a contract talk and some signing of contracts, and then they said, hey, this is going to be recorded down in Burbank, and that's it. So I ended up showing up that day, signing the paperwork, and meeting the new kind of like English voice cast. And I mentioned before that Bill Black has done hundreds of games. If you look him up, he's been in the business forever. He used to do music, but he decided to do voice-over directing for a while. Like I said, he's just done tons of work. So, that being said, we got a lot of really great talent who has lent their voices to amazing projects. But some of our legacy characters, like Tom, the hot dog guy,
I loved
Bill
him.
Butts. Yeah, Bill Butts, who's a really cool guy. We're actually friends. He is the tank himself. So if you look him up on Instagram, he's got more muscles in his right pec than I do my entire body.
I love him. Besides you, I adore Tom. I love his character.
Yeah. And he's just all around great guy. But we all know that Liesl Wilkerson got a chance to come back, and that's because she's not in Japan. She is currently living here in Los Angeles, and that is why she had the opportunity to come back and reprise her role as Joy.
Oh.
So that's why we did getting her. But as far as Paul Lucas, like he played Lan Di and Chai and a few other characters. The reason he didn't come back because he's currently in Singapore.
Okay.
He's doing voice work in Singapore, and he's also teaching over there. Eric Kelso, who I mentioned before, who did Fukusan, he did Guizan, he did Ren, he did a bunch of other characters, probably 10 other different characters. He didn't get a chance to come back because he still lives and works in Japan, and he is a big voiceover artist over there and makes tons of projects, and is really busy over there. So it's like, you know, when we did Shenmue 3, I don't think it's a secret that we were on quite a bit of a tight budget.
Yes. Yes.
We were tight on time, tight on budget, and it's like, well, we either get them in a recording studio over there, which is going to be expensive, or we fly them over to Los Angeles and set them up, which is going to be even more expensive. So we said,
Don't worry.
you know, it was kind of Yu Suzuki's decision, and he said, you know what, I think we're just going to have to do all local talent
Yes.
there in Los Angeles. And since Corey Marshall was there, you know, I got a chance to do it again, and it was just like, hey, we've got tons of voice actors here who do professional Japanese animation and video game all day. I mean, you could throw a stone outside and probably hit a voice actor. You know what I mean? So, like, actors are everywhere in Los Angeles, so they decided to just make it as economical as possible and do it here in Los Angeles. And all of the voice acting decision came down between Bill Black and Yu Suzuki. Yu Suzuki did get a chance to fly over from Japan. He came over with a really light crew. He came with one of his lead developers, I think. And he came in with a translator. Man, don't quote me on any of that. But he was here only for about 3 days. He got a chance to meet with me and Brianna Knickerbocker, who ended up playing Shenhua, and all these main legacy characters. We all kind of scheduled it around that time. So we could all come in, meet with Yu Suzuki. We could talk about Shenmue, the future Shenmue, and our characters and all that kind of stuff. And that's what we did. You know, it was kind of like it was a great opportunity to spend some time with him for the 3 days he came in, but we did some kind of like big meetings that involved me, I should say, Ryo and Shenhua, and some other sort of large movies while Yu Suzuki was here. We kind of talked about, you know, getting back into it again, and he, you know, one of the best things he ever said to me was, you know, after all of this time, you still sound like Ryo.
You do. Like, I don't mean to cut you off because, like, I'm literally like, I'm like, I just missed a QTE. That's how much I'm enamored by. Like, I just missed a QuickTime event, and this little girl got kicked in the face by a soccer ball because of me just now. So, I didn't mean, it's just, we all have, like, their moments in our life where you feel happiest. And this, you know, they're fleeting because, like, with life is a series of moments that fleet. Like, they're there and then they're gone. And I'm talking to Ryo Hazuki, and you sound like you did. Like, so that makes it even more poignant of your brilliance of a voice actor that it's just you playing this character while playing yourself. You like.
I'm lucky that I have a lot of other physical injuries, but I never got punched in the throat. I didn't smoke 20 packs of cigarettes a day, and I'm very healthy. So I guess I was able to keep my voice, but it's kind of like obviously I speak a little differently than Hazuki speaks, but it's kind of I've been in the studio so long talking like him. It's like a bicycle. I'm not there. I see his character. I put on the earphones and I start speaking in that mic, and it's because I've done it for so long, so many days, for so many months. You know what I mean? It's just like
It's you. It's you.
I get a chance to jump right into it again.
And it's
he said when he looked at me, he said, "Yeah, every time I hear you, I see Hazuki." And he said I'm so happy that after all this time, that's still the case.
Good. And if you think about it, that's probably the best compliment that you could get. And I always, so like when it comes to voice acting, like there's Corey Marshall, we had Paul Haddad, we have Steve Downs, we have Jen Taylor. For anybody that doesn't know Paul Haddad is Leon S. Kennedy. Obviously, Mr. Corey Marshall is Ryo Hazuki. You have Steve Downs, who's Master Chief, and you have Jen Taylor, who plays Cortana. These are like, when you think of characters in video games, you think of these eternal characters. And I had an opportunity to meet Steve Downs a few times because he's obsessed with one of my corgis. So every time I see him, he's like, "How's the corgi doing?" And he's got that raspy voice, and it's funny the way you said it, because one time I was outside at a show, and he's smoking a cigarette, and I look at him, and he goes, I know, but if I didn't smoke these cigarettes, you wouldn't have a Master Chief. Because it was me smoking cigarettes for 25 years that made me sound... I was just like, the man's got a point. Keep smoking, sir.
Right? It depends on what character you're doing, right? Like, I don't know if anybody knows the artist Tom Waits, but you wouldn't get that Tom Waits sound without that sound as if he's gargling glass.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But what's crazy is that I understand, like, when you put on your headphones and you're becoming, in your process of an actor, you're becoming Ryo Hazuki, but it's just us conversing right now in the hour and 14 minutes of the greatest hour and 14 minutes of my life. It's nothing has changed, and this is a 20-year difference, and nothing has changed. You sound like you did, and so people that are watching, we're playing as the gentleman that is talking to us about one of the most profound video games in history. And what's crazy about Shenmue is Shenmue wasn't a critically received game. It was so ahead of its time that people didn't know what to make of it. Yu Suzuki took a genre called free, which is full of reactive eyes entertainment, and spent $20 million of Sega's money when Sega wasn't doing well financially to hire voice actors like Corey Marshall, to hire cartographers, to study weather patterns, to study maps. The events and the times in this game are the identical times and weather patterns from that exact date and time. It's stuff like that, and before people have been coming in and out all day since the stream started. I've been, me and him have just, it could have been one person in here just getting to talk with Mr. Marshall about Shenmue. But what's crazy about Shenmue as a whole, and it's something that Corey said earlier at the beginning of the stream, is most of the games we wouldn't have without Shenmue. Shenmue laid a foundation of so many things, from QuickTime events to story plots that have to do with if you make this wrong decision, like the fact that I was staring at Corey when the girl got kicked in the face by a ball just now. I can't take that back. Like, that is in the ether now. Like, the drive of a dodge button, the fact that it's the veins in Ryu's hand, the fact that you're immersed into an actual city that you can literally go to and see. In the year 1999, this miraculous game came out, which wasn't critically received, unless you understood Yu Suzuki's brilliance, a man that created everything from Outrun to Afterburner to Space Harrier to Virtua Fighter to Virtua Racing, and then had basically a project on his heart that he wanted to do, which that's what this game became. Like, it's baffling that we got to see this, and it's so amazing that I get to talk with the man that made this game what it is. Because when you talk about a game, if the actors aren't at par, and this can be the same with movies, this can be the same with music, it's the characters and what drive content in a video game. It's the storylines. We can all doll up and say, oh, it has to do with a lot of graphics. It really doesn't. I play Shenmue and stick figures, as long as people are voicing the characters, because that's what makes the game. The game is the connection with the characters. And in my lifetime, I get to see more Shenmue. So I'm going to ask a question now, because I want to ask as many as I can, because I just love, honestly, hearing you talk, because I get to basically talk with you as, So, obviously, I don't know if you can tell us. I'm not putting you on the spot. Do you think in your heart of hearts that we might get a fourth Shenmue? What are your thought process?
Let me grab a water real quick, and I will answer that question.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
And I just want to thank everybody that's in here right now. Again, I know I've been advertising this very heavily. I really wanted people to come in here and get to experience Corey Marshall and get to ask questions. So please, I know it's a one-way conversation right now, but if you guys have questions about anything, the chat is right here. We can answer. You can send me questions, and Corey's also watching the stream as well. I spent about an hour getting everything set up the way it needed to be set up. I know that the voice on his end can be a little iffy. That has to do with hotspot issues. As long as everybody can hear him to the best of their abilities. I have my admins in here right now that are able to answer, that are able to check and see if anything was going on. But please, I would love to have him back again. So, ask any questions you want. Again, I've been advertising this very heavily for the fact that he doesn't do this that often. In the years that I've known him, I've probably seen him do this 2 or 3 times. So this is a big honor for him to take time out of his schedule. And he can lie and say that he's not doing much right now. He's still taking care of his family. We're dealing with tremendous events right now. California, like what everybody else, we've got a whole country of 300 million Americans that are suffering right now. Lives are being turned over. And for him to take the time out so we can talk with him and give us a little bit of, serenity is such a great thing. So, question I just got for you from Steadley Shark. He's a brand new follower. He's awesome. He probably found us through one of the 1 million posts I've been doing all week about you. How long did you live in Japan, and do you miss it?
Oh, do I miss Japan? Is the Pope Catholic? Yeah, I miss Japan, definitely. Let's see. The first time I was there, Shenmue 1, I lived there for about 4 months. And second time I was there, I lived there for about 3 months. So for Shenmue 2, they gave me a chance to live like a Japanese. You know what I mean? It's like in fact, even for Shenmue 2, they gave me a business apartment not too far from the from Shenmue headquarters. They even gave me a bike that I could bike work every day. That was fantastic. and I literally, got a chance to live as if I were Japanese, like as if I were a citizen, because I was working during the week. I had the weekends off, and I got to go and do whatever I wanted. And even the first time I was there, I think it took a little longer because there's something called Golden Week, where basically the entire country takes off and they all go traveling to destinations and stuff. And I ended up going over to the mountains up in Nikko, and ended up going over to Kyoto as well, and visited Kyoto. And it's just, what I like about Japan is that they're similar thinking to me, where I kind of feel like people should live in cities, and the cities should be efficient and clean, and transportation should be amazing, and then nature should be nature, and people should go visit here. Kind of have the opposite philosophy here in the States. We kind of feel like we need to spread out as much as possible. In Los Angeles, it's like, a sea of building lights, you know what I mean? It's far, I mean, like, the earth starts to curve. You see the end of the lights. Of course I'm being dramatic, but you get what I'm saying. Like, something that I really enjoy about Japan is they have a lot of respect for their culture and their nature, and they also have a lot of respect for where they live as cities and stuff like that. I could go on all day about it, but especially with my martial arts background, I have an ingrained sense of respect for elders, or respect for I guess hierarchy or authority. Like, I'm familiar with that, so I know how things I guess work. So I'm very comfortable there, and I can fit in very very easily. Other than the fact that I'm a foot taller than everybody else, and I'm a giant figure and all that kind of stuff. I will always get the gaijin. And the funny thing is that Eric Kelso's the same way. He's kind of a he's a little bit tall, and he's definitely stands out. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, you could speak perfect Japanese and try to converse philosophy with somebody in Japanese, but they'll always
right back in English.
Yeah, they'll try to always speak real slow and real, really easy, Japanese. And he's like, no, it's okay, I understand Japanese, and they'll still be like, it's like, no, I've been living here for 30 years. So, but anyway, I love Japan. There's all places have their flaws, and Japan is no exception. They're definitely weird and strange, and they have their faults as a people and a culture, but we all do.
Yep.
But other than that, it's an amazing, fantastic place, and I recommend if anybody wants to go visit that they should. It's a very it's eye-opening and fantastic. It's just wonderful.
Oh, and Zyber, I probably said that name wrong. He said hi to you just now. He said, "Hey Corey, what's going on?" So Zyber, he just jumped into the channel. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know a lot of people. Yeah, he jumped in and said hi. So we're talking to Wifey right now. Our Nozomi. Oh, Corey, did you see that somebody was able to hack the original Shenmue and found a plot line where you and Nozomi are fighting with other people? Like, she's like a martial art master. Did you see this article?
Yeah,
Did you see who was in the
yeah, I know people who are able to dive into the into the code, I should say, and yeah, they're able to dive around and find all kinds of really interesting things. So, who's interested,
See you later.
there are a lot of hidden, interesting, I don't know, plots and stuff like that we never had a chance to see, or that most people don't see, or that some of the hidden events are extremely hard to get to. But yeah, there is all kinds of stuff out there. So I encourage people to go find that. And yeah, I did know that, and that is amazing.
So
And I would like to see that. I would love to see Nozomi just she'll come in Shenmue 5 and just start tearing up for whatever reason. I'd love to see that. Oh, but I wanted to answer your question.
yes, I was like, I want to hear if he knows some stuff. Does he got some inside information? While you answer that, I'm going to treat myself to a Cadbury cream egg because today is just a wonderful day.
Oh, please do. So, I could tell you that I don't know any insider information. That, sometimes I know more than other people, but I can honestly say that I don't know about 4, but let me tell you something. I have a high confidence that 4 will happen because of a few things. We were able to kickstart 3, and we learned some valuable lessons from that, right? So we learned that some places it didn't sell as well, and some places sold better than we thought. So not only did we have a very successful Kickstarter campaign, in fact, we had a great Kickstarter campaign. So that proves, of course, that the fans understood it. And 2, some places sold better than we thought. Like I just mentioned. So, for example, in Japan, it didn't sell as well. Japan didn't always have this market, but I think they were a little surprised that it didn't sell very well.
Nozomi
Right?
told me you had
So
words with
that's
the
a
guys
lesson,
driving the black
right?
car.
Okay, well maybe
No, I
Japan
don't remember.
may not be the market
might have been the
to
ones
like
who murdered my
really
father.
put it there, or I mean, who knows? Maybe we may not even have another Japanese
Right, man.
translation.
I'll try.
Which do they show? But for example, it's still better than we thought in places like the UK because like fans would tweet at me or give me messages or whatever and say, "Hey, we can't get Shenmue here. Like I've gone everywhere, all of the stores are sold, and we can't even get it on Amazon. It's sold out on Amazon in the UK." So I was like, "Oh wow, that's interesting." And so, yes, it's
Those guys in the black
been
car,
going for years. So
what were they like?
that's another lesson.
I
Right?
saw
Okay,
a
like
guy
well, maybe
wearing
some
this
places like
weird
the UK,
coat.
there might be a little bit
Coat.
more
It
sushi.
was a deep green.
So we
maybe
had pretty
velvet or
pretty decent
silk.
sales in some places.
Something Chinese.
And
That's
we
Landy.
had several companies come in and be involved in the project as well. Right? We all know Deep Silver and all the other people who came in. So we got more, corporate backing and probably some money involved in that as well. So not only do we have their money, but we have Kickstarter and we have pretty good sales in multiple places. So that gives me the, as I mentioned, the high hope or the high confidence, I should say, that we will at least get 4. Now, as far as 5 or 6 or 10 is concerned, I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that. Sorry, I can tell you that we will most likely, and just it's my opinion, get 4.
Could I PayPal you right now?
Set you up for a
You take PayPal? Cash App? So I had mentioned this before, and like when Corey and I, we did a dry test earlier. We talked for about 30 minutes before we actually started the stream. We wanted, get to know each other a little bit more. We've been friends for a little bit on Facebook, but we've never really talked like this. And I've been kind of not hounding him about. I've been hounding him about this. That I wanted to have this meetup and actually get to speak with him on this exact type of platform. And what I really wanted to know about Shenmue 3, when it started being worked on and you started seeing all the money pour in from the Kickstarter, how did you feel about that?
Well, I've said this in the past, and it's more true with Shenmue 3 than ever. But, people, the only way I can say this is that I don't have a job without you guys. You know what I mean? And like I said, with Shenmue 3, that's more true than ever, right? So if fans aren't out there buying games, I don't work, you know? So people say, oh, thanks for being Hazuki, thanks for making these games, thanks for, and you talk about it too, you talk about your childhood and stuff, but I seriously have to thank people like you and all the fans out there, because if it's not for you, then I'm just like some crazy guy talking to myself. You know what I mean?
Playing in an arcade, talking about darts.
Right? Because you guys enjoy the content I'm trying to make. Like, look, I try to make good things. I obviously want to make things that people like and enjoy. That's definitely one of my goals in life. I want to make cool content that people want to play. But I have to seriously thank all of the fans out there for everything they do for me and everything they do for my family, and making sure that I continue to work in the future. So, hey, dude, seriously, thank you for having me on today, and thank all the who are out there chatting and questions and all that stuff. Seriously, you guys mean everything to me. I don't get to do what I do without you guys. So thank you.
So close.
So I was just asked, what is a Zinners? Zybar said I should ask you about that. What are Zinners?
Oh yeah, so Zoom. A lot of us are now using Zoom to. In fact, we're doing it now. We are people are using it just to hang out with their family and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like it's like Skype or anything else. And what I'm doing it off and on. I've done it 3 weekends now.
Oh, good.
Where I'll pick a day, Saturday or Sunday, and I will do a Zoom dinner. So that's a Zinner, and I get to just hang out with Shin.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
We'll come on like some hardcore Shenmue fans that know more about the game than I do. and we've had new people come and be like, hey, I just discovered Shenmue and I just wanted to say hi and all that kind of stuff. So I'm literally just hanging out with fans and talking to them and doing whatever,
I would definitely want to be part of that. I would like to thank Zyber for letting me know that those actually exist. I had no idea. So all of this came about because I had messaged Corey about, again, we had just lost Paul Haddad, and I had said that if anything were ever to happen to him, you'd be remembered we would literally light up the heavens in your remembrance. And I kind of hinted at him at this point. I was like, I still want to do a Twitch, stream with you. And then he said the best thing that you can hear when you're a fan of somebody, he's like, well, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm not doing anything this week. So, why don't we, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, he's joking. Maybe he doesn't know who I am. Maybe maybe he mistook me for somebody. And then I asked it again and I go, Thursday, ? Exclamation point, happy face. So I usually I don't get speechless about things. I don't think I've ever scored less than 200 on this dart game, and I am currently at 35 right now because I am so I can't even people are getting hit in the face by soccer balls. I'm asking the wrong questions. I almost just interrupted a guy eating his hamburger at the hamburger shop. Nozomi wants nothing to do with me now. I mean,
play more?
No, I can't play anymore. I'm just wasting my inheritance right now. So I'm wasting the inheritance that I got. So you said Yu Suzuki was only in America for 3 days. So you never went to Japan for Shenmue 3. All of it.
Yeah, not for 3 because like I said, we were just talking about time and budget. And that was the best thing to do. We have lots of really great voice actors, and LA's a place so that we can get things done fast and inexpensive. So that's how it was. And I got when they announced Shenmue 3, I was definitely thinking, ooh, do I get to go back to Japan and do I get to live there again? And I thought, could I bring my family? That'd be awesome. If my daughter or my wife could spend a few months with me in Japan, that'd be amazing. But yep, not this time. But we'll. The thing is that I'm going to say things went pretty smoothly this time. So if we have a Shenmue 4 and beyond, it will probably be. Of course, the English will be voiced here in Los Angeles, I'm assuming. So, yeah, if anybody wants to move to Los Angeles and become part of Shenmue 3, or 4, I should say.
Holy shit, I'm going to be Guijong. I'm going to be right next to you battling. That was probably one of my... Guijong spot, like, when Master Chen charges Guijong with basically becoming, like, your bodyguard.
Right.
And... he, like, randomly attacks you like a freaking ninja. Like a cat on stairs. Like, jumping out at you. That, to me... So, like, when Shenmue 1 came out, and obviously I played it in... Like, it was all I did. Like, just playing Shenmue, like, over and over and over again. And I remember hoping against hope that... at the end of Shenmue 1, when you're getting onto the boat, you got your fancy green backpack, which I've always wanted one of those. They're so awesome. I always thought that Guijong was going to join you in Hong Kong. And then Chai comes in and then hurts his leg, and I'm thinking he's going to show up. Why do you think that... why do you think that Guijong wasn't written in to go with you to Hong Kong? That's like kind of like my question. I've got millions of questions, and they're basically my synapses are firing right now like a spider monkey on pixie sticks. Right. So why do you think why do you think Guijong wasn't brought in with you?
Well, I think we start to see these the opposite sides or the many characters to Hazuki, right? And we see all these other characters, right? So if Guizhang or Guijong followed him, right, then we wouldn't get as prominent character as Ren, for example, because we meet Ren in Hong Kong, and he sort of kind of takes that place of Guizhang, right? Like he kind of takes that I mean, not sidekick, but more like companion character, right? Is his opposite, his friend, his yin to
his inverse, like his yeah.
So I kind of feel like, as I was mentioning earlier, how he's kind of meeting all these different people and they're teaching him different things about himself and about life. I think that's probably why. You know what I mean? And will we get to see him in the future? I don't know. I think that would be amazing. I would love to see him come back for Shenmue 4 or something like that, to be like, hey, I had a fracture, not a full break, but I don't know, a fracture in my leg or something. He gets to come back, and maybe we'll see Ren and him and maybe some other people that he met along the way. Kind of having off another army of people or something like that.
Can you imagine?
It's kind of like... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'm just literally, that's all I wanted to say. Can you imagine like that? Oh my god. 150 person battle. You, Ren, and Guijong. 50 apiece.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's kind of like, right, and both those characters too are polar opposite between, and it's funny because they're both played by Eric Kelso, so that's kind of funny, right? Both played by the same guy in Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2. But so yeah, they're almost polar opposites too. One of them's very straight-laced, wears a suit, very disciplined, right? And then there's Ren, who is the street, right, like the gangster, the hothead, the one who wants to just like kick ass all the time. So that would be cool to see. It's almost like on one shoulder you'll have the angel and the devil on their different shoulders. So it'd be like, the Zen master versus the chaos bringer. And so that would be interesting. because you'd have Hazuki right in the middle and these two opposite characters on either side. That would be great. Let's see, Shenmue 4. Let's make it happen.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? So my next question, again, I've literally been thinking about questions all week. Actually, forget all week. Like 20 years now, there's been like questions. So when it came to any of the like the jacket, for instance, did that actual jacket exist? The Ryo Hazuki jacket, was it an actual jacket that was in the game? Did somebody wear it for mocap, or was it basically just computerized?
No. As far as I know, and I wasn't a part of that mocap. But as far as I know, that was not a real jacket. That was actually put on over the top. It's not such design. The mocap was different if I remember properly, and they did it similar to what we do it today, and the jacket was just layered on top.
Got you. Okay. So was there anything that you got to keep from the original Shenmue, like scripts? Was there anything that you got to actually keep from the original Shenmue, like keepsakes is what I'm trying. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, you have some concept art that unfortunately I'm not allowed to share because there's that stuff is a little bit more secretive as well. They let me have some of that, and they did give me one of the Shenmue watches. Those Shenmue watches that everybody.
You have the freaking Timex watch. I'm not jealous.
I do, yeah.
No, I'm not jealous.
I have one.
I'm not jealous. Not at all. I mean, it's fitting though. Ryo Hazuki should have his watch.
Yeah, but it has the
Usenet. Yes.
On it. And it's got the timepiece on it. It's got Shenmue on the other side. Yeah, it's really cool.
Good.
I love it.
So my next question, when it came down to the Kickstarter, was there anything on the Kickstarter that you just thought was amazing, like stuff that they gave out to people that invested a lot? Like, was there anything that you just thought that, wow, I can't believe that they were doing this for like that person? Like, I know there was one.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, there was one. What?
No, that's it. I had to stop myself because I really wanted to get that answer.
Yeah, I kind of like the fact that people got a chance to be in the game, right? So people got a chance to be a part of Shenmue history. I thought that was cool. I thought that was a lot of people really want to be a part of it somehow. I mean, a lot of people would love to see themselves in a game or whatever, but Shenmue actually gave them that opportunity to be a part of that history, right? And that's another big, like, huge thank you to all the fans who got a chance to make Shenmue 3 happen. So we had a couple of faces appear, and we had people on credits, and some of their names pop up, and some of them were on the lucky hit, and those kinds of things. That was really awesome, touch. I thought that was a great idea, and I know that a lot of people really appreciate it to get a chance to somehow immortalize and make that's so important. I thought that was a great.
Here you go.
Okay, so we just got a question. Okay, so let me see what Sobes just asked. It'd be cool to have both of their opinions on what to do in a situation. Okay. So question: what was the deal with the Bob Pizza character? The guy who owns the restaurant is Mario, and somehow his Japanese voice actor is even more stereotypical than the English voice actor.
Oh, that his accent was more stereotypical?
I guess that's the question, yes.
My opinion on well, we had famously for Shenmue 1 and 2, I think a lot of people probably understand that we only had so many English-speaking voice actors in Japan. So, for example, if you get somebody like Eric Kesselman, and you're like, hey, Eric, give us, your voices, and he starts to rattle off some of his characters, and you're like, okay, you got some more? we got all these characters. We got literally hundreds of characters, and then once he starts getting down to 10 characters or something like that, it's kind of like, uh, okay, we're kind of stretching it because that one sounds a little bit like Ren. Okay, that one sounds a little bit like Rizan. You know what I mean? So a voice actor is going to pull from their repertoire. You know what I mean? I mean, some guys are great. Some guys literally have 100 characters that they can give you. But even if you're doing that, let's just say it's like, um, um, if you're Seth MacFarlane and you've got 100 different characters, but they're really um,
Yamagishi-san.
like cartoony characters on purpose, right? Like Stewie and
Your back seems
you
to be-
have Quagmire, and then you have, it's like they're all like really distinct and funny and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But if you're trying to do something realistic, you only have so many voices that you can pull out of your bag. You know what I mean? So they started inviting all these characters in, and they're literally doing probably 10 characters a piece, or maybe even more. I don't know. They kind of started pulling people who, maybe weren't full-time voice actors, who maybe were doing this, maybe they were just starting, or maybe they lived and worked in Japan and they've always wanted to do voice acting, or something like that, you know what I mean? So they got some people like Tom, for example, and they're like, hey, could you do a Jamaican accent? And they listen to it and they're like, oh, okay, that sounds good enough, and then same thing with the Italian guy. They're like, hey, could you do an Italian accent? And then he pulled out this really stereotypical, Italian accent that's kind of, over the top. And they said, well, okay. You know what I mean? So they kind of had to do that sometimes. And I think that's no secret. I think in Shenmue 1 and 2, I think that's part of its charm, though. You know what I mean? Like, people love it because it is a little quirky. You know what I mean? Like, it is a little bit funny sometimes. You know what I mean? It kind of like it's that part of the endearing part of Shenmue 1 and 2. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's how it came about. We had a lot of our stronger voice actors doing stuff like main characters. Like Paul Lucas did Shy, and he did Lan D, and I'm trying to remember the other characters. He did 3 or 4 other characters, and then I think the same thing. It's like, yeah, once you start pulling out 10 characters, you start doing Street Vendor, you start doing one of the kids, and then you have to do one of the and then you have to do the Santa Claus character.
I love that Santa Claus character.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much how it came about. It's like we had a lot of really great professional voice actors in Shenmue, and some of them that are not professional voice actors, and they kind of came from everywhere. One guy was working over here, and then one guy came from the naval, or from the naval base, or one guy. In fact, I think the guy who played Tom, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the guys from the naval base. He was like, "Oh yeah, I did studying as a kid," or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's like he came in and did his best.
So we just got another question from Zyber.
Because we had literally hundreds of characters in Shenmue, we were just a little bit limited what we had. You know what I mean?
So Zyber just asked a question, and actually it's it's a very good question. Were you asked to do any other voice actors? Were you asked to voice any other characters, or were you brought in specifically to only voice Ryo?
Yeah. Yeah. And on that point, I actually said that. I was like, oh, actually, I could do more characters. I have different voices I could do. Do you want me to do any characters while I'm here? And they said, you know what? No, we appreciate that, but we want you to concentrate on being Ryo. We would like you to just be him all day, every day, so you're in that mind that you are him. You can live that character every day you come in. We don't want you to think about anything else, basically, is what they were saying. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I could have, and I wanted to, but they said, no, we appreciate that, but we would like to do just Hazuki. So that's how it went.
So okay, yeah. So Zyber just said pretty cool. Okay, so my next wait, hold on. Okay. Steadiest Shark just says Corey is a champ. I appreciate how much time he's giving us. Yeah, you're amazing right now. Actually, that's a good question. How much longer do I have with you? We've been going for about 2 hours, and to be honest, I would turn this into a 24-hour stream. We would both have like longer beards. You know, we'd be emaciated. How much longer do we actually have with you? Is my question. Like,
Yeah, well, I don't know. A couple hours is pretty good, but if we get some good questions, if people want to ask some great questions, we'll knock those out, and we'll call it quits after that.
all right. So my next question. So, what is it like? Was there a change between Yu Suzuki when he worked for Sega to when you worked with him again through Usenet, or did he still have that same disposition to him? Like, how did it?
No, he especially when it comes to Shenmue, it is his passion project. He's so passionate. I think that is the word. That is the word to describe his attitude towards Shenmue. It's like another child of his. You know what I mean? So when I talk to him about Shenmue and about all of that, about the characters, about what's going on, story, all that kind of stuff, he is so dedicated, and it means so much to him. I felt that the first time that I met him briefly, and then of course when I got the chance to speak to him more in the future, the time that he spent here, I spent some time with him over at E3, and I spent some time with him afterwards. His demeanor, as far as Shenmue is concerned, did not change because it means everything to him. It's his magnum opus, right? It's his baby. So that is the thing that I got most from him, as far as as who he was, or his attitude and all that kind of stuff, was really his demeanor toward Shenmue and how much it means to him. And I think probably people can understand that with the depth of detail that they went into, all of the mapping, all the details I mentioned before, all of the reference figures that they took and all that kind of stuff. All of those things meant so much. All of those details, it's really Shenmue special. And I mentioned at the very beginning of this too. All of the characters that go into it, they all had a name, all had a background, they all had a blood type, they all had a birth date. You know what I mean? It's like every single detail. It's like he wants to just immerse himself into it. So that's the main thing that I get from him whenever I speak to him about it. I talk to him about life sometimes. And he's actually a cool guy. He's people probably meet him and they're probably, in all of everything he's done and all the great things that he's done for us as fans and everything, that they probably want to put him in reference or whatever. But when you get a chance to sit and talk to him, he's just really a cool guy. He's really nice. He's really just warm, and I enjoy every moment that I spend with him. If it's just talking about life, or if it's talking about Shenmue and video games in general, he's a great guy. And I hope people get a chance to meet him and just say hi to someone. He's cool. I like him a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question. So we just got some more. This is from Zyber. Okay, so he asked, I guess an observation of mine. I just finished Shenmue 3 and found the Chai Easter egg where you find his room and you find the poster of Chai's wife and kid, quote unquote. How did the director ask Corey to deliver the line, "There's no time for jokes"? Was he given context for it? Question mark.
How did I deliver the line? What's that? What was the line that he asked me about the delivery?
There's no time for jokes.
Oh, and the context with that?
Yes.
Um, um, that was a pack of, believe it or not, some things were kept secret even from me. And like I said, in Shenmue 3 was a little bit different, where they even hid some of the ending from me as well. And some of those Easter eggs were hidden from me as well. And I'm not sure why they did that, because in Shenmue 1 and 2, we voiced it not exactly in order, but a lot in order. You know what I mean? I got a chance to understand how things were happening as I was voicing it. And I mentioned before, I was playing the game myself, so it was pretty in order, and there was a lot of context involved, and I understood all of the script was there. They actually gave me literally paper strips like this. It's like they gave me a Bible every day to read. It was so thick.
Wow.
But Shenmue 3 was a little bit different, and it may have been for time as well, because they may have been trying to create that content as I was voicing it. So I can't give you an exact on that, because things in Shenmue 3 were a little bit different. So not everything was given to me in context, and not everything was given to me as far as seeing it on screen as well. Again, because I think time was tight, so they didn't have everything rendered for us to see. So we didn't get a chance to see everything, unlike Shenmue 1 and 2, where everything was already made for us as English voice actors, I should say, and we got a chance to see everything. But sometimes we didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to know everything that we were voicing at the time.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, so that's how hype things were sometimes. And some of those scenes were going back and forth. They had us voice some of those scenes. I had to go on after, where it was, or where Grove was, or wherever, right? So, and then that scene would come back, maybe because when they were creating it, I had to voice it again. I had to get strict time constraint, or maybe they changed it in some way, and they had me to do it again. That sort of thing, So we didn't get everything in Shenmue 3, so sometimes we were a little bit blind, but we did the best we could, and I think we did have a lot of reference, and we did have a lot of either script involved as well, but not all, and not all.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. We got another question. This is from Sobs. Do you think your life experiences post Shenmue 2 help shape your version of Ryo in Shenmue 3?
Well, Hazuki's still pretty young, so I have to go back and remember who I was at the time to kind of find that character again. But yes, absolutely. I think that I have learned as far as my life lessons. Yes, I definitely bring that into the life that I give Hazuki. But even me having my child, my daughter, makes me realize how important a parent's love is for their child. So when I hear family relationships between Shenhua and her family, or her father, and things like that we get to hear about,